some people have no other option. We talk about exterior environment. Some people actually, that would be an upgrade for them, or that kind of sustainable life, or that kind of reliable lifestyle. I mean, if they're willing to put the work in or whatever, at least they get, they get meals and they get, warm bedding and clothing and stuff like that.
And signing bonuses.
Yes, and actually you can actually get paid to go to school. Yeah, so this is actually, in some sense, beneficial for some people. Maybe if they wanted to change the system, they need to find a way within it to get some kind of power or sway in their own individual, and maybe. So I'm just saying, different people have different. They start out at different economical places on the hill, don't they? And that's going to determine how you're going to play with this in this system, which we're in right now.
Definitely,
this Western capitalistic system. So.
Probably most of the soldiers that don't join because their families have this military lineage, it's because the lower class people, when they graduate high school, they don't have as many opportunities, and then in the Army or the Marines or whoever is there to offer them a $15,000 signing bonus,
absolutely.
free college. That's a pretty good motivation right there.
Sure.
So, but
it's a huge incentive.
Yeah. But then we end up with basically almost a mercenary army of the poorer classes fighting the wars.
People do benefit the upper mercenaries class. Do they fight differently than people who are really attached to? It's like when it's their homeland at stake, right?
Steve would know better than we would. I mean, how much of the effort that you put forth on the battle? I mean, have you been in battle?
No. I was what they refer to as an Airedale, so I was on the aviation side, and I was in a unique program. Well, maybe not so unique, in the sense that I was enlisted, and but I still was able to be a part of the air crew. It's an air crew program, so you go through this 5-week school and kind of rigorous. And then you're attached to what they call a platform, and the platform is an aircraft, a type of aircraft. And then so you go to your permanent duty station, and for me that was aboard C-2 aircraft, which flew back and forth to the aircraft carriers to deliver passengers, mail. Mail was a huge one. We were mailmen, and then cargo as well. So I was on, in the thick of it, I was going out to the ships a couple times a week.
Right in the Pacific? Was this?
I was over on the East Coast.
On the East Coast?
Yeah,
So, talking about the coast, right? I wanted to bring in your surfing lifestyle and maybe some of your rock climbing and how that's kind of been a gateway or portal for a kind of spiritual path to maybe something that's infiltrated your psyche that's caused you to kind of break away from this old view you might have had that it was okay, or maybe not completely okay, but was okay to go along, was okay enough to go with it, right? And now maybe your view is, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something else with my life. So I was wondering if you could tell us about certain spiritual paths, whatever they may be, what yours was, and how that's kind of like changing your life for, I think you would say the better. I think everybody around here would say it's for the better. If you want to go into that and explore that for us.
Where should I begin?
Where do you like to surf? I mean, where do you like to rock climb? And
right now, I'm climbing a lot over at the gym mostly, but
those are fun.
Yeah, I mean it's a means to an end, but you get it's good exercise.
It's really challenging.
Do you ever go? Is it solo or is it with a group with you?
Definitely I go alone, but then you end up talking to a bunch of people because it's very social. There's an extremely big social aspect to climbing.
Just hanging out there, literally hanging out, talking about what you're going to do the rest of the day.
I mean, so several. I think I started climbing 10 years ago. I was talking to some guy last night about this. He was asking me.
Yeah.
And I've been surfing probably a little longer than that. And of course, like we were talking about before, you spend a lot of time. Anyone who spends a decent amount of time outdoors can and will develop an appreciation for the environment. So, and with that, you try to cultivate this spiritual upbringing. Because I don't know if I should go into Like I was a pothead for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And you know,
We know what that's
Who's a
like.
through that, I think you develop friendships with people of similar value systems.
That's a whole
and-
culture.
It is, and I think it, in my opinion, definitely is a much more liberal community. So typically, yeah,
Usually
right.
more open, more.
Right. So, and not that I don't want to base my spiritual foundation on.
It's a sacred plant, you know. It's a
It
sacred
could be a catalyst.
I think it was already. I would like to say, or I would like. It'd make me feel more comfortable, I guess, if I said that, I had those underlying feelings to begin with, anyways.
Yeah.
Sure.
It just helped you express it.
Right, absolutely. So, yeah, through that, I developed that appreciation.
Mhm.
And then, so through surfing and climbing, you begin to become much more aware of what's happening with the environment.
Really?
That is, maybe detrimental. Like, I've been out in the water, and you can literally see the effects of some of, like, an effect would be runoff from agriculture.
Mhm.
So you get these chemicals washing into the surf or into the nearby waters, which create unnatural blooms of algae, which in turn will, in effect, it changes up the ecosystem, right? So
Yeah.
what happens is you have this big carpet, for example,
Mhm.
of algae, which may or may not, or which may impede sunlight from penetrating through to other.
All the life,
Like help and stuff.
yeah,
Right.
all the biology down
Prevent surfing.
there.
Yeah, and I think along with that, as the algae dies, or whatever that bloom is, it releases a bunch of carbon, CO2.
Oh, more carbon.
Right. So
Excellent. Need more of that. We're just winning everywhere around this globe.
and then rock climbing, and especially places like Yosemite, they're definitely trying to shut down.
He was just open Yosemite
Oh, were you?
for symbiosis.
Shut down what?
They're trying to shut down, or how should I say this? They don't want to make it as accessible as it is these days.
To climbers?
No,
Or
just
just-
to
oh, just to
tourists,
tourists.
especially with respect to buses,
Yeah.
because a lot of that is, I think, run on, CNG, like compressed natural gas, which, isn't as bad, but nonetheless,
Alright.
or maybe even biodiesel, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They just want to limit the amount of carbon exhaustion that goes on within
That makes
the valley.
Right.
I understand.
It's sort of
I
a,
understand
it's
a
a
lot.
trade-off, right, between ecotourism, which
Yeah, which
allows
is beneficial.
People, yeah, people are educated about
Absolutely.
and they recognize the beauty of the environment that they may not have understood. But at the same time, when you go to a place like Yosemite, you are disturbing the
Yeah.
natural setting. Just
Right.
So
So there's
a
a-
way to avoid it.
I think there's a fine balance that has to
Yeah.
take place, obviously.
Right.
And how that's achieved is tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think ecologically responsible, camping and packing everything out, leaving no
Right.
trace.
Right.
If people are educated in how to do that, I don't think it will be that big of an issue.
I agree.
It's a matter of proper
It's-
education.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's where I think that's where quite a bit of the problem lies is the lack of I think education.
Right. And then there's the respect issue too. I mean, if you respect this natural
Right.
setting, you're not going to leave your trash behind. You're not
No.
going to
Yeah.
disturb the wildlife.
So along with that education,
Yeah.
I
Right.
think either as a result or maybe parallel, there is a respect that has to be cultivated along with that.
Yeah, respect is a kind of word that's usually associated more with the right than the left. But I think the true open-minded, right? The true person that's striving for maturity, spiritual maturity, has to include respect, and that's some type of disciplined approach So whatever.
The time is